Presider for our Mass is Father Thomas Frederick Asian. Before he became the pastor for St. Martha Catholic Church in Balita, he was an associate pastor of this church. Please welcome him with a warm applause. The sponsors for our Mass this morning are Divine Mercy Promoters, Legion of Mary, Senecal, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and Overnight Adoration. Music will be provided in choir. After the Mass, you are all invited to go to the parish hall for breakfast. Thank you and see you all again tomorrow. Please stand and greet the people around you.
Before Christmas, one of the things that I was told by the bishop, now it's good you can celebrate Simbang Gabi. Because I know a lot of chapels over there, a lot of churches need a quiz for Simbang Gabi. So I thought, I was ordained, I thought they ordained me, I was Superman. So I accepted schedule left and right. That particular year, first year of my priesthood for Simbang Gabi, I had scheduled 2 evening masses, 7 and 9. So I get up 10-ish, then I go home. And then in the morning, I have 4 and 5. I ended up celebrating 36 Simbang Gabi. But that was the first and the last. I never have repeated it. Now I celebrate 18 because I have morning and evening this time. Simbang Gabi. But I would always love, I always look forward on a December, I always look forward on our preparation for Christmas. For us Filipinos is so special because we have this opportunity. For 9 consecutive days we gather at church, we celebrate our love for the Word. We unite our own intentions with that of God, and we feel God's presence. For me, Christmas would never be complete if I would not be able to go on a Simbang Gabi or Misa. That is it. As I've said, I have a lot of schedules every day, plus my schedule at the parish. You know, during this time also, I would always notice there are a lot of sick call. And after sick call, what follows is there are a lot of funeral requests. Now, at funerals, I see people would say, Father, when I die, can you sing for me? That would always be the case. simbang gabi, I continued on the whole day. Parish work, office work, meetings there. Remember at last Tuesday, I was at Santa Maria. You know where Santa Maria is? Nasa dulo ng daigdig. Because from West Covina, where I am at, to Santa Maria, it would take me 4 hours of driving. I arrived there, they arranged a place for me to stay. The parish was 30 minutes away from where I slept that evening. So the mass was 5 o'clock also in the morning. The other day I was at Panorama. The other day I was at Cohanga. Yesterday I was at Santa Monica. I love visiting people. And I never complained. I remind myself, you were ordained for this. You said yes for this. And this you must do. While I was driving, going to the church, St. Mary's in Santa Maria, I remember one particular experience. This is what I had when I arrived here. There was so much fog, zero visibility. It's hard to drive. But finally, I reached the church. But at this experience of mine, a couple of years ago, this was the time where GPS were not available yet. Our phones are not functioning as GPS. Before, you use a book called Thomas Guide, and you keep it under your seat. And whenever you need direction, you have to pull out that big book. You look at the road, you look at the map. People are talented. You do that. Have you done that? I've done that when I arrived here in the States because I don't know where to go. One time, I was invited at this church and I was about to celebrate Mass, but I could not find the church. I think there's something wrong with the map. I've been going around, could not find the church, until I found a young little boy by the street. And I went to see the boy and told him, I am lost. I'm looking for the church. The boy looked at me from head to foot and said, who are you? I told the boy, I am a priest. What is a priest? A priest is someone who lives in the church. And the priest leads people. I teach people. What do you teach? Sabi ko, I teach people how to go to heaven. And then he said, that's weird. You don't even know how to go to the church. Everybody wants to go to heaven. I'm sure. Ayun yung katabi mo natutulog, nagising tuloy. Hopefully our priests, as priests, we teach you and we lead you to go to heaven. Because that's our direction. That's where we're going. Why are we doing Simbang Gabi? Because we're preparing ourselves. Just like the season of Advent, just what the season tells us, we prepare for the coming of the Lord in our lives. According to Saint Bernard Clairvaux, there are 3 comings that happens in our lives. I don't think you know. There are 3 comings that happens into our life. The first coming happened 2,000 years ago. Jesus became an incarnate Son. Jesus was born in a manger. Jesus was born from a woman. Jesus was visited by shepherds and angels. You call that coming, Jesus coming in history. The second coming happens in the end. The final coming. Jesus comes, Lord of Lords, King of Kings. He comes in His glory and majesty. You call that coming in the end. Jesus comes in majesty. But according to the saint, there's a middle coming. Coming in between the first and the last one. And that coming is called Jesus comes in mystery. History, majesty, mystery. When does the Lord comes in mystery? He comes in mystery through our celebration of our Holy Mass, to the precious body and blood of Christ. He comes in mystery through the mystery of the cross. He comes in mystery to the very people and experiences that we have every day. The Lord comes silently into our lives. What we prepare for 9 days is again to remember the incarnation of the Lord. He comes in history. But it is also important for us to realize the Lord comes to me each day to the very people I meet in this. I don't know if you heard this story, but allow me to relate it to you. It was Christmas, and everybody was excited because their pastor celebrates his birthday. Everybody wants to give the pastor a gift that he will remember. Everybody was so excited, even the pastor got excited. He got engrossed into the preparation. He went from house to house, checking on everyone, telling them how life is treating you, asking them how life is treating you. What is your livelihood? Are you getting through each day with your lives? And when the long-awaited day came, the birthday of the pastor, everybody was gathered in the church like this. And everybody was expectant, and everybody was focusing on the occasion. They placed a chair at the middle, and they wanted the priest to stay there. They wanted their children to be the one to deliver the gifts. And the first one that came forward, the pastor said, I know this boy is the son of a baker. They own a bakery. And when the boy gave the pastor the gift, wrapped, he said, I know what's inside the gift. Inside the box, since it's my birthday, is my favorite chocolate cake. The boy said, Father, how did you know? Father knows everything. Lahat alam ni Father. Second boy came forward with a big box and he said, Father, this is our gift to you. The priest know that the boy was a son of a meat shop owner at the corner of the street. And so he said, I know what's inside the box. The boy said, no, you don't. Inside the box is my favorite homemade sausages. Father, how did you know? Father knows everything. Lahat alam ni Father. But the third boy cut the line. He wanted to be ahead, carrying a very big box and handed it to the priest. And the priest knew that the boy is the son of somebody who owns the liquor store in front of the church. So he said, it's easy. When the boy gave him the box, he said, I know what's inside in here. No, Father, you know. The priest said, since it's my birthday, I'm sure inside the box is the finest champagne that you have in the store. And the boy said, no, Father, it's not champagne. And the priest turned pale. He made a mistake. People thought Father knows everything. So he started to make some cheating. He started shaking the box. But as he was shaking the box, he felt that there was some moisture underneath. So he started tasting each finger. And when he tasted it, he said, no, it's something stronger. It's not champagne, it's whiskey. The boy said, no, it's not whiskey. And the priest was now turning red. He shook it more violently, more moisture underneath. He tasted both fingers this time. And after tasting it, he said, it's much stronger. It's not whiskey, it's brandy. No, Father, it's not brandy. Out of embarrassment, in front of everyone, the priest started tearing up the box. And after opening it, lo and behold, inside the box was a cute little puppy. Nakinig sa kakaalog. Decided to be when he shake of the box. And the puppy's feet tasted of champagne, whiskey, and brandy. So no drinking tonight. No drinking. Why am I telling you? What am I telling you? God is full of surprises. God surprised Mary. She was barely 14 years old, and she was told by the angel, you will be the mother of God. You know, for the past days, we've been We've been told about so many annunciations of the angel Gabriel. The annunciation of Joseph happened in the Gospel of St. Matthew. No, St. Luke has the annunciation of Mary. But in the Gospel of St. Matthew, the other day we hear Joseph was being told, do not be afraid to take Mary into your home. That's his annunciation. Yesterday, we heard the annunciation to Zechariah. The same angel was telling him, do not be afraid. But still, he doubted. And you have listened to that yesterday. And now, we hear the annunciation of Mary. But the very difference between Zechariah who doubted and Mary who said, how can this be since I do not know man? After saying that, she readily said, I am just the handmaid of the Lord. Let it be done to me according to your word. She believed. She trusted. She knew she was just a mere servant of God. And he needs to answer. The question is to you and to me. Do we always trust the Lord? When the Lord tells us something, do we readily believe that everything will happen according to God's will? Because sometimes, in our own limitations, we also limit the Lord. So this is what I want you to remember. Do not limit God with your own limitations. We are limited, God is not. He's limitless. And when He tells us something, He does it. It might take time, but the Lord will do it for us. Even the impossible. The impossible things that we thought would never happen, could happen, and will happen according to God's time. So this is the next one I'd like you to remember. Imagine the unimaginable so that God could do the impossible. There are so many impossible things that is happening all around us. But if we could imagine that it will happen, it will happen. I have a friend who's been praying to the Lord, Lord, I wanted to have a visa to come to the States. It is as if it's impossible because she doesn't know anybody here. But she worked hard on it. She applied for it. She never got discouraged until finally she's here now. She found her way to enter the States. A lot of people, we go to Simbang Gabi because we have our intentions. I'm sure you have one as well. Each day we come here praying, Lord, let me have this. People would pray. One friend of mine would pray for a job, for a nice work. And after Simbang Gabi, he received it. Another person was praying, hopefully our family could get reconciled for Christmas. It's been a while since we talked. And this was her prayer, that on Christmas Day they will be one and find forgiveness in their hearts. Another friend of mine was praying for a cure, for healing, and for the illness. I have one friend who prayed differently. She prayed that at the end of the 9 days, she would have a boyfriend. Sana magka-jowa na ako. You know what happened after the 9 days? Secret next year. Pag in-invite niyo ako ulit, you will find the answer. But kidding aside, I'd like you to picture this in your mind. What if at the end of the 9 days, the Lord comes to you and says, what do you want me to do for you? Just like the blind man, maybe say, Lord, I want to see. Sana, sasabihin natin, yung talagang kailangan natin, at talagang important is natin. We do have so many priorities. We do have so many wishes and wants and needs. But hopefully, when the Lord asks us, what do you really want me to do for you? You'll be able to say, Lord, this is what I want you to grant me. And I will be happy to give. The Blessed Mother was the happiest person. She was chosen. Among all women, God chose her, found in her, and gave her the responsibility and in the road to bring Jesus into this world. But did that give the Blessed Mother something to brag at, something to be proud of? No, she did not. She embraced the Lord in all humility. She went through the process. She went through answering God's call and accepting the consequences that comes with it. You know, sometimes the Lord is a demanding God. When He tells you to do something, He did not tell you the detail. When the Blessed Mother was told, you will be the Mother of God, He did not come in the detail that your son will suffer soon. Your heart will be pierced. He did not come in the detail that you will not find any house just to deliver the baby. But the Blessed Mother accepted it point blank. Accepted it with hands up here. I surrender myself to you, Lord. Do with me as you. Each and every person has a role to perform. John the Baptist performed his role. Zechariah performed his role. Saint Joseph performed his role. During the pandemic, we have this term, frontliners. And that was famous then. That's part of history. Doctors, nurses, priests, we became frontliners. But we should never forget that there are also sideliners. There are also people who prepare everything. Just like a wonderful celebration of the Mass, it is not only for the priest to do. It is a concerted effort of everyone. Before you came here, somebody opened the door. Somebody turned on the lights. Somebody tried to see things are right. Somebody was checking on the wire. Somebody was checking on the vestments and all the vessels needed. It is our role to do that. And a concerted effort for us to have a wonderful celebration. Small it may be, it is important to God. One last story before I overshoot ahead of time. I have a friend who got assigned in Canada. And this priest friend of mine, first time in Canada, was not able to receive information beforehand, orientation of what he would expect. It was winter, very cold. He didn't know, he doesn't know anyone yet. Was assigned here, was tasked there to be the new pastor. The only transportation available was to ride the bus. And one time the priest was riding the bus, going to the church. Just like any other bus, you pay and the bus driver gives you some change. And when he was on his way to his seat, he realized that he was overpaid with 25 cents more. There was an excess of 25 cents. And he thought to himself, this is just 25 cents. People here are rich. They won't mind the 25 cents. I might as well keep it. But the priest said, no, it's wrong. It's not mine to keep. So when he saw his stock, the church, he went to the driver and said, I think you gave me more. I have an excess of 25 cents for my change. And then the bus driver said, are you the new priest here? Then he said, yes, I am. The bus driver said, I deliberately gave you an extra 25 cents. Why? Because if I could trust you with a small matter, I could trust you with my soul. He left the bus driver, went to the church, knelt at the altar and prayed, Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for giving me that experience. Thank you for telling me and doing this. Because I could have sold you for 25 cents. The things that we do, God sees them. It might be small, it might be ordinary, but the Lord will reward you greatly for doing it.